The whisper in my bedroom wasn't my girlfriend. I haven't slept in days, and I'm typing this at 4 a.m. because I'm too scared to close my eyes. I'm 28, live alone in a rundown apartment with paper-thin walls, and my girlfriend, Mia, stays over a couple times a week. Last Friday, something happened that's got me questioning my sanity, and I need to tell someone before I lose it completely. Mia came over after work, and we were chilling with some takeout and Netflix. One thing led to another, and we ended up in my bedroom, lights off, getting, intimate. I'm not gonna overshare, but let's just say we were caught up in the moment, tangled in the sheets, and I was feeling pretty good. The room was dead quiet except for us, or so I thought. Right as things were heating up, I heard a whisper, sharp and cold, right in my ear. "Slow down!" It was so clear I froze, thinking Mia was messing with me. I pulled back, looked at her, and she was staring at me, confused, like, "What's wrong?" I asked if she said anything, and she swore she didn't. Her face was blank, maybe a little annoyed. I stopped. I laughed it off, blaming my imagination, and we kept going, but I couldn't shake this uneasy feeling. A few minutes later, it happened again. Another whisper, slower and raspier. "Not like that." My heart slammed in my chest. Mia didn't react, still moving with me, so I knew she didn't hear it. I scanned the room, nothing but shadows and the faint glow of streetlights through the blinds. My stomach twisted, but I didn't want to freak her out, so I mumbled something about needing a break and got up to check the apartment. Doors locked, windows shut, nobody else here. Mia was pissed, thinking I was dodging her, but I convinced her to stay the night, mostly because I was too spooked to be alone. Around 2 a.m., I woke up to Mia shaking me, her voice trembling. "Did you hear that?" I was groggy, but then I heard it. A low, guttural voice from the corner of the room. "She's not yours!" We both screamed, flipped on the light, and there was nothing. No one. Just my shitty IKEA dresser and a pile of laundry. Mia grabbed her stuff and bolted, saying she's never coming back. I tried to stop her, but she was gone before I could explain. Since then, it's gotten worse. Every night, I hear that whisper. Sometimes it's "slow down." Sometimes it's my name, drawn out like a hiss. Last night, I felt something cold brush my leg under the covers, and I swear the mattress dipped like someone sat down. I checked my building's records online. A guy lived here 10 years ago, died in this apartment, heart attack in his sleep, right in this bedroom. I don't know if it's him, but I'm moving out next week. My lease is up, and I can't take this anymore. Mia's not answering my texts, and I'm sleeping on the couch with every light on. Has anyone dealt with something like this? I'm scared it'll follow me. The days dragged on, each one more unsettling than the last. I found myself jumping at every creak and groan of the old apartment, my nerves frayed and my mind racing with possibilities. The whispers continued, relentless and unnerving, echoing in the silence of the night. I felt like a prisoner in my own home, trapped by an unseen presence that seemed to delight in my fear. Desperate for answers, I turned to the internet, scouring forums and message boards for any hint of what might be happening. I read about hauntings and restless spirits, about energies that linger in places where lives were abruptly ended. The story of the man who died in my apartment haunted me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that he was somehow connected to the whispers. One evening, as I sat hunched over my laptop, I stumbled upon a thread about cleansing rituals and ways to communicate with spirits. The idea seemed absurd, but I was willing to try anything to rid myself of the oppressive presence. Armed with sage and a hastily scribbled incantation, I set about performing a cleansing ritual, hoping to bring some peace to my troubled home. As I moved through the apartment, the sage smoke curling around me, I spoke the words I had found online, my voice trembling with uncertainty. "Spirits of this place, I mean you no harm. I ask you to leave in peace, to find rest beyond these walls." For a moment, the air felt charged, as if the very walls were holding their breath. Then, slowly, the oppressive weight that had settled over the apartment seemed to lift, and I dared to hope that the ritual had worked. That night, I slept fitfully, my dreams filled with shadowy figures and whispered warnings. When I awoke, the apartment was silent, the whispers absent for the first time in days. I felt a tentative sense of relief, as if I had finally turned a corner in this strange and terrifying ordeal. But the reprieve was short-lived. The following night, as I lay in bed, I heard it again. a soft, insistent whisper, closer than ever before. "You can't escape." My heart pounded in my chest, and I sat up, scanning the room for any sign of movement. The shadows seemed to shift and dance, and I felt a chill run down my spine. It was as if the presence had grown stronger, more determined to make itself known. In a moment of desperation, I reached out to a local paranormal investigator I had found online. Her name was Claire, and she had a reputation for dealing with cases like mine. I explained my situation over the phone, my voice shaking with fear and exhaustion. Claire agreed to come by the next day, and I felt a glimmer of hope that she might be able to help. When she arrived, she brought with her an array of equipment, cameras, audio recorders, and devices I couldn't even begin to understand. We spent the afternoon setting up, Claire explaining each step of the process with a calm and reassuring demeanor. She asked me to recount everything that had happened, taking notes and nodding thoughtfully as I spoke. As night fell, we sat in the living room, the lights dimmed, and the equipment humming quietly around us. Claire encouraged me to speak directly to the presence, to ask questions and invite it to communicate. Feeling foolish but desperate, I called out into the darkness. "Who are you? What do you want?" For a moment, there was only silence. Then, a voice crackled through the audio recorder, faint but unmistakable. "Leave." Claire's eyes widened, and she motioned for me to continue. "Why are you here?" I asked, my heart racing. The response was immediate, the voice more distinct this time. "This is my home." A chill settled over the room, and I felt a sense of dread wash over me. Claire leaned forward, her expression serious. "It seems like we're dealing with a spirit that's attached to this place. It's important to approach this with respect and understanding." We spent the next few hours attempting to communicate with the spirit, trying to understand its motivations and find a way to help it move on. Claire performed another cleansing ritual, this time with more elaborate preparations and a deeper sense of purpose. As the night wore on, the atmosphere in the apartment seemed to shift. The oppressive presence began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of calm and quiet. By the time Claire left, I felt a renewed sense of hope that perhaps the worst was behind me. In the days that followed, the whispers ceased, and the apartment felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted. I reached out to Mia, hoping to explain everything and mend the rift that had formed between us. To my relief, she agreed to meet, and we spent hours talking, rebuilding the trust that had been shaken. Though I eventually moved out of the apartment, the experience stayed with me, a reminder of the mysteries that exist beyond our understanding. I learned to approach the unknown with respect and curiosity, and to trust in the strength of the connections we build with those we love. And as I settled into my new home, I carried with me the lessons of the past, determined to face whatever came next with courage and an open heart. The days following the cleansing ritual were a mix of relief and lingering unease. While the oppressive presence seemed to have lifted, I couldn't shake the feeling that the experience had left an indelible mark on me. The whispers had stopped, but the memory of them lingered, a haunting echo in the back of my mind. I threw myself into the process of moving out, eager to leave the apartment and its unsettling memories behind. Packing up my belongings was a cathartic experience. Each box sealed a step closer to a fresh start. I found solace in the idea of a new beginning, a chance to leave the past behind and embrace a future free from fear. As moving day approached, I reached out to Mia, hoping to mend the rift that had formed between us. Our conversation was tentative at first, but as I explained everything that had happened, I could see the understanding and empathy in her eyes. She listened intently, her hand resting on mine, offering silent support. "I'm sorry for what you went through," she said softly, her voice filled with sincerity. "I can't imagine how terrifying it must have been." I nodded, grateful for her understanding. "It was, but I think it's over now. I just want to move on and put it behind us." Mia smiled, a warmth in her eyes that reassured me. "I'm here for you, whatever you need." With her support, I felt a renewed sense of strength and determination. Together, we tackled the final stages of the move, her presence a comforting reminder that I wasn't alone in this journey. The new apartment was a breath of fresh air, bright, spacious, and filled with potential. As we unpacked boxes and arranged furniture, I felt a sense of excitement and possibility. This was a chance to create a new home, one free from the shadows of the past. One evening, as we sat on the balcony, watching the city lights twinkle below, Mia turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "Do you ever wonder why it happened? Why the spirit was there?" I considered her question, the memory of the whispers still vivid in my mind. "I think it was just unfinished business. Maybe he was lonely, or maybe he just needed someone to listen. Mia nodded, her gaze thoughtful. It's strange to think about, isn't it? That there might be things beyond our understanding, things we can't see or explain. Yeah, I agreed, a sense of wonder in my voice. But I think that's what makes life interesting. There's always more to discover, more to learn. Our conversation drifted into silence, the kind of comfortable quiet that spoke volumes. We both knew that the experience had changed us, deepened our understanding of the world and each other. As the months passed, the memory of the haunting faded, replaced by new experiences and adventures. Mia and I continued to build our life together, each day a testament to the strength of our bond. We took trips to the countryside, hiked through forests, and camped under the stars. Each adventure was a reminder of the beauty and wonder of the world, a world that was vast and full of mysteries waiting to be explored. One night, as we lay under a canopy of stars, Mia turned to me with a smile. Do you think we'll ever have another experience like that? I chuckled, the memory of the whispers now a distant echo. I hope not, but if we do, at least we'll face it together. She nodded, her eyes reflecting the starlight. Together. In that moment, I realized that the haunting had been more than just a brush with the supernatural. It had been a journey of growth and discovery, a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit. And as we lay there, hand in hand, I knew that whatever the future held, we would face it with courage and an open heart, ready to embrace the unknown and the wonders it might bring. Months had passed since the unsettling events in my old apartment, and life had settled into a comforting routine. Mia and I had grown closer, our bond strengthened by the trials we had faced together. Our new apartment was a sanctuary, filled with light and laughter, a stark contrast to the shadows of the past. Yet, as much as I tried to leave the past behind, there were moments when I couldn't shake the feeling that something lingered just out of sight. It was a subtle sensation, a whisper at the edge of my consciousness, as if the shadows were watching and waiting. One evening, as Mia and I were preparing dinner, she paused, her brow furrowed in thought. Have you noticed anything strange lately? She asked, her voice tinged with uncertainty. I looked up from chopping vegetables, my curiosity piqued. Strange how? She hesitated, choosing her words carefully. I don't know, it's just a feeling, like we're not alone. Her words sent a shiver down my spine, a reminder of the whispers that had haunted us before. I set down the knife and moved to her side, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. I haven't noticed anything, but if you're feeling uneasy, we should pay attention. Mia nodded, her expression serious. I just can't shake the feeling that something's watching us. We spent the rest of the evening on edge, our senses heightened as we moved through the apartment. But nothing seemed out of the ordinary, and eventually, we convinced ourselves that it was just our imaginations playing tricks on us. As the days turned into weeks, the feeling of being watched persisted, a subtle presence that seemed to hover in the background of our lives. It was never overt, just a whisper at the edge of perception, but it was enough to keep us on edge. One night, as we lay in bed, I was jolted awake by a soft rustling sound. I sat up, my heart pounding in my chest, and listened intently. The room was dark, the only light coming from the street lamp outside, casting long shadows across the walls. Mia stirred beside me, her voice groggy with sleep. What is it? I heard something, I whispered, straining to hear over the pounding of my heart. We both listened, the silence stretching out between us. Then, faintly, I heard it again, a soft, almost imperceptible whisper, like the rustle of leaves in the wind. Did you hear that? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Mia nodded, her eyes wide with fear. What is it? I don't know, I admitted, my mind racing with possibilities. Determined to get to the bottom of it, we got out of bed and began to search the apartment, our footsteps silent on the hardwood floors. We checked every room, every closet, but found nothing out of the ordinary. As we returned to the bedroom, a chill settled over the room, and I felt a familiar sense of dread. The shadows seemed to deepen, and I could have sworn I saw them shift and move, as if alive. Mia clutched my arm, her grip tight with fear. What do we do? I took a deep breath, trying to calm the rising panic. We need to find out what's going on. Maybe it's time to call Claire again. The next day, I reached out to Claire, the paranormal investigator who had helped us before. She agreed to come by that evening, bringing her equipment and expertise to help us uncover the truth. As night fell, Claire arrived, her presence a reassuring reminder that we weren't alone in this. We explained everything that had happened, and she listened intently, her expression thoughtful. "It sounds like you might be dealing with a residual haunting," she said, setting up her equipment around the apartment. "Sometimes, when a spirit is attached to a place or a person, it can leave behind an energy that lingers." We spent the evening conducting a series of investigations, using cameras and audio recorders to capture any evidence of the paranormal. As we reviewed the footage, Claire pointed out subtle anomalies, shadows that moved on their own, faint whispers that echoed in the silence. "It's definitely something," she said, her voice tinged with excitement. "But it's not malevolent. It seems more curious than anything." Her words were a relief, but they also raised more questions. Why was this presence here, and what did it want? Determined to find answers, Claire suggested a seance, a way to communicate directly with the spirit and understand its intentions. Mia and I agreed, hopeful that it might bring us some clarity. As we gathered around the table, the room dimly lit by candlelight, Claire guided us through the process, her voice calm and steady. We held hands, our eyes closed, and focused on the energy in the room. "Spirit, if you are here, we invite you to communicate with us," Claire intoned, her voice resonating in the stillness. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, slowly, the air seemed to thrum with energy, and I felt a gentle pressure on my hand, as if someone were holding it. A soft whisper filled the room, barely audible but unmistakable. "Help!" Mia's grip tightened on my hand, and I opened my eyes to see her staring at me, her expression a mix of fear and determination. "What do you need help with?" Claire asked, her voice steady. The whisper came again, more insistent this time. "Lost." We spent the next hour communicating with the spirit, piecing together fragments of its story. It seemed to be a lost soul, searching for a way to move on, but unable to find peace. With Claire's guidance, we performed a final cleansing ritual, offering the spirit our support and encouragement to find its way to the light. As the ritual concluded, the air in the room seemed to lighten, and I felt a sense of peace settle over us. In the days that followed, the whispers ceased, and the feeling of being watched faded away. Mia and I felt a renewed sense of calm and security, grateful for the help and guidance we had received. The experience had been unsettling, but it had also deepened our understanding of the world and our place in it. We had faced the unknown together and emerged stronger for it, ready to embrace whatever adventures lay ahead. Thank you for watching. Write comments, put likes. Do not forget to watch other videos.